Today I'm in the beautiful city of Hesperia, California, just about 10 minutes off of Interstate 15, right off of Lake Arrowhead Road. And today I want to show you a great little trail. It's really not a trail, it's more of an area. I call it the Summit Valley area. It doesn't really have much of a name. The City of Hesperia has labeled most of this area the Tapestry area or Tapestry Project because they have a long-term project to develop some of this area. But I think this might be one of the best off-roading areas for beginners anywhere in the area. This area is basically a straight road that runs about 4 miles from Lake Arrowhead Road all the way out to Summit Valley Road near the California Aqueduct. Great place to get out and practice getting into four-wheel drive and four-wheel load, just tool around and have fun. There's dozens or hundreds of small canyons that veer off in every direction that have difficulty ranging from flat and easy to fairly rocky and somewhat difficult. There's also several hills that range from mildly steep to horrifyingly steep and loose. This area has everything from flat sandy road to a little bit of rocks and canyons and crawling, steep hills. It's a great area to come out and just practice doing some off-road. Nowhere, anywhere in this area is further than just a couple of miles from civilization. If the worst happens and you get stuck or lost, it's really never much of a walk to get back to civilization. Most of this video will be from my dash cam from the front of the Jeep. If you look at the bottom, you'll see the GPS coordinates of where I am at that moment. So if you see something you like, just copy down those GPS coordinates and you'll be able to find it. Through the entire area, you've got this flat dirt road, which is in pretty good shape the whole way through. You can probably do two-wheel drive through the entire way, all the way over to Summit Valley Road, which is where the first or the nearest exit is. But as you go through here, off in each direction, you'll start seeing hills. And some of those hills range from almost straight up and down, nearly impossible looking, but you'll see tracks on them, so somebody tried them. So we're going to stay on the main road here. You can see it's flat. And if all you want to do is come out and put your new Jeep in four-wheel drive or practice getting into four-low, this is a great area. Right about here, the road just split back there, so it goes off into one of the canyons, and off of each split you'll see lots of tracks leading up all different hills, and it gets to be like a maze up there. So it's really easy to get lost, but everything leads back to one of the 4 main roads. It's bordered by Arrowhead Lake Road on one side, you've got Summit Valley Road on the other side, you've got the Grand Canyon of Hesperia, the bluffs, on the other side, so you can't go past that, and then you've got the aqueduct a little further ahead on the other side. So even if you get lost in the maze of roads up there, every road leads back to a highway just about, so you can't get too lost.
Yeah, I was going to say, this doesn't look really familiar to me. And unfortunately, I lost my track, so I can't track it.
Alright, well, let's see if we can get over there and avoid these horrifying looking hills. So, going through a neat little wash. We're going to try to make our way further east. For a beginner, this would be great to practice on. Coming up on a little hill here. It's a little bit steep and it's a little bit rutted. Enough to go into 4 low. A little steep. But any Jeep would make it right up that nice and easy. But if you've never been up a hill like that, it might be a little challenging or intimidating. Now, I don't even really know where I'm going because normally I go down that East Canyon that we're heading to, and even though this is a whole maze of roads, I know that they all pretty much connect. So I'm just going east toward the power lines. Let's see where we end up. It's an adventure. One of the things I like about this area, as compared to, say, one of my other favorite areas for beginners, which is Cleghorn, is that this area is all open and wide versus Cleghorn, which is a lot of shelf road and kind of narrow area. So it's wide open. Cleghorn is at a lot much higher elevation, so you get a lot more snow. I think there's probably snow up there now. And here we're almost bone dry with just a couple of little mud patches here and there. And I think I have cell phone service through almost the entire area as well. There's another steep little wash to get through, a little downhill. Another hill. Lots of hills in this area. Now, even though this really is a beginner area, and it's not far from any, you're always pretty close to civilization. It's pretty well traveled. We've already seen a couple of people. Still not a good idea to come out here alone. I didn't even want to come out here alone because there are some rocky canyons, and they're rocky enough that it's fairly easy to get stuck. And you never know, something could break, and you just don't want to be stranded. So I always say never go alone unless you know you're not going to veer from the dirt road. All right, then I'll give you a pass and you could do that alone. But since I knew I was going to be veering from the dirt road, brought my buddy Rich today. We're both driving Jeep JKUs. We're both on 37s. We've both got pretty decent lift. We're pretty well equipped. But so we might make some of these areas look a little easier than if you were driving a stock Jeep. But we brought out our new 2006 LJ, the Is a Rubicon. We brought that out here a few weeks ago, right after we first bought it, and it went through all the areas, all the rocky areas with no problem. Christina was driving, and she got hung up a few times. We backed her off and repositioned her, and, no issues. So don't think that we're making it look easy just because we've got 37s and big lifts. I think any stock Jeep can do anything that we're going to be doing today. This really is a 4x4's playground. It's really popular with a lot of motorcycles. We've been out here a few times on the weekend. We see a lot of motorcycles and a lot of ATVs. Don't see or have not seen a lot of Jeeps. I don't know if that's because it's not tough enough for real Jeepers. Like I said, I think it's great for a beginner. So we're coming up on one of our fun little canyons. It's a short little canyon with some decent rocks to get over. The nice thing about almost all these canyons is that they're usually only a couple of 100 yards long. So you can get out and walk it and see what you're going to get yourself into, which is a good idea before you try going through one of these canyons. And that's the great thing about this place, is that they're all such short canyons, it'll only take a minute for you to get out and walk it. So we're familiar with this canyon. We call it Christina's Canyon because it's one of the places that Mrs. Not a Rubicon, Christina, brought her brand new Jeep when we first, her brand new LJ. So let's see how it goes. This is one of the tougher canyons. I don't think they get much rougher than this. It's got some significant rocks that you got to get over or around. This is one of the tougher spots. Oof. That was a big rock. Am I good up there on the... These are the rocks that we just came through, give you an idea. Rich, stand up on this rock over here. That's what I banged on coming down. This canyon is a few hundred yards long, if that. Maybe 200-300 yards. Some big rocks, enough to keep your attention, enough to get hung up on if you're not paying attention. Of course, if you're all stock, it'd be much easier to get hung up on them. I know there's a rock there. It is. Oh, stall the stick shift. Just couldn't see it, but I knew it was there. Yeah, if it leads back into the canyon. What we're doing now is looking for one of the more fun and exciting hills to go up or down. There's 1,000 hills out here. There might be 10,000 hills out here. But a lot of them are very loose. They've got loose sand that you have, you know, the hill is loose and sandy. And that means getting up them can be difficult. The first time I was in this area, I was coming down one of those very steep, very loose hills and basically lost complete control of the Jeep because I was just sliding down the sand. The Jeep slid sideways, coming down this steep hill. I couldn't turn into it. I turned the wheel, nothing happened. If I hit the brakes, nothing happened. I was out of control coming down this hill. It's a couple hundred yards long. I thought I was going to roll it. I ended up sliding into the side of the hill sideways and had to get strapped and winched back into a safe position. So again, this area is great for beginners, but before you go running up or down a hill or into a canyon, walk it and look at it. And with the hills in particular, make sure it's not too loose, not too sandy, just know what you're getting into. And again, don't go alone, so that if something crazy happens like what happened to me that time, you're not alone, you can get help. It's more fun when you've got somebody with you anyway. And this is another one of those canyons. It's a little bit steep and a little bit rocky. Would not recommend this one for beginners. And then you can barely see it in the upper far left of the screen is a hill that comes back down on the other side, which is very steep. So we're going to go up this canyon here, which is pretty rocky, pretty loose. Like I said, I wouldn't recommend this for beginners unless you're extra brave. You can see this is it's pretty steep. Problem is all these rocks are very loose. Got my rear locker on. I think Rich put all his lockers on. A little off camber. These rocks like to move. Spinning some wheels. This is probably the most intimidating hill here, at least that we're doing today. I'm sure there are much worse hills than that, but that'll be the most intimidating hill that we'll be, or little canyon we'll be showing you today. Now we're looping around just over to the left of that hill we just came up. Probably won't be able to tell in the video how steep this hill is once we start going down. Not at it yet. It's pretty steep, and this would definitely be tougher coming up than going down because it is loose. So as I'm going down, as I'm moving, I'm sliding. I'm basically pointing straight down. My seatbelt is holding me in, sliding a little. I'm kind of crawling. My 538 gears are keeping me slow, but I'm touching the brake a little, and the Jeep's just kind of sliding anyway. Oh, slid a little there. fun little hill. All right, now we're just following a canyon. It looks like if it does go through, it'll meet up with another road up at the top. Does look a little rough. There's tire tracks here, so somebody's been up it. It is a little rough and not well traveled. A little overgrown. One of the great things about this area is that there's 100 of these canyons or more. Some are steeper than others. Some have more rocks than others. We turn the corner and there's more rocks. A little bumpy. More rocks. It levels out a bit. And I can see on some of these low tree branches that somebody's cut them back. So somebody's been maintaining this at some point in the past. And my GPS says we should be coming up on a road up here soon. Every trail leads to a road. We are headed east to the Bluffs. It's like the Grand Canyon of Hesperia. It's just a great view of the West Fork Mojave River, looking out towards Highway 173. And it's only about 2 miles from the canyons where we came in. And there's a road that runs right along the bluffs. Right along the edge, really, for a long ways. And if you follow that back southwest, that will eventually, through a series of mazes, get you back over to the aqueduct, to the one bridge that takes you over the aqueduct, and that gets you into the whole next area, whole next section of this area that we're not doing today, but that's another area several miles long by several miles wide. That will eventually get you down to Highway 173 by Silverwood Lake Dam. And there's more hills over there. It's a little more mountainy, a couple of shelf roads. A lot of private property down as you get down toward the Mojave River and the dam. But that's a whole other area for exploring. We're going to stay on the north side of that area today. And as we approach this, we see the bluffs, overlooking the bluffs right in front of me. All right, so we made it to where we wanted to go today, which was to overlook the bluffs. From there, we could have gone over toward the aqueduct and continued the day down that way. We're going to head back to the power line roads and take that out to Arrowhead Lake Road by the Joshua Inn. We're going to air back up there and finish the day there. We could go straight back the way we came, or go over by the aqueduct and go out to Summit Valley Road. That's one of the main entrances, and that's only 3 or 4 miles away. So from here, there's all different places you could go. There's days more worth of exploring and wheeling to do out in this area. But that's it for us. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have any questions about this area, I'm definitely not an expert, but I will try to answer them. So just post a question below in the comment section and I'll try to answer it the best I can. We're going to plan to do some runs in this area in the near future. So If you haven't already, sign up at notarubicon.com to get on the events list so you get an email notification when we're going out on a run. And of course, if you have not already, please subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss any of our videos. Thank you for watching.